we're ready to start reassembling the Mustang. So we're gonna put all the plastic pieces back in and get this thing drivable again. I can't wait to show you the progress. If you missed the last videos in the series, I'll link it here, as well as the full Mustang restoration playlist, because let me tell you, this thing didn't start off like this. It took a lot of time and hard work to get it there, and I'm so happy with how it looks right now. So yeah, while you're here, please like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. Let's go. So I had gotten a new front bezel that goes over the infotainment center system, whatever it is, you know, the CD thing that there's no CD player. It's a bezel, and it goes over like that center console, over the AC and everything. The one that came with the car was silver. Silver obviously wasn't gonna jive with my new, you know, black on black interior that I'm going for. And plus it was extremely cracked and it looked horrible. So I agonized over spending the money on this because I just thought it was so ridiculous that it was $140 for this piece of plastic. Granted, the original one also had all of the brackets broken on the inside. It looks like whoever messed with it before I owned the car just completely ripped it out for no regard of the plastic pieces that you need to reinstall it. So anyways, when I finally did break down and spend the money for this piece, I found it was a little bit cheaper on late model restoration versus American Muscle. I get the piece, fantastic quality. I'm really happy that I forked over the dough for it. So I just had to, you know, really transfer the pieces from the old one to the new one, and I did so many coats of paint. Next up on the list was the center console. So I had bought a new boot to go over like the e-brake. And when I had removed the old boot, there are these little speed nuts that hold the boot on, and they're just anchored to plastic. So unfortunately, a lot of the plastic broke. I saved those pieces though, and I mixed in my favorite JB Weld. I get like all kinds of JB Weld. I like all the different colors for all the different purposes. So mix in some JB Weld and put some on each end, let it sit for a little bit and get tacky, and then I place the little prongs ever so gently where they broke off of and let that sit. And while my center console thing is drying, we can transfer the old buttons, the old buttons from the old bezel to the new bezel. Look at that bezel. And once my JB Weld is dry, I can go ahead and install my boot, my brand new boot. Oh, what a difference this brand new boot makes. See these are speed nuts. Well, that's what I call them anyways. They're horrible. This is a horrible design. Those speed nuts, I first encountered them with my Camaro with the door panels, and even if you remove them very gently, they tend to rip off whatever they've been attached to. So when I saw those on the Mustang, I was like, no, not the speed nuts, no. There were a couple prongs that I could not find, so I used my secret weapon, which is my weather stripping glue, and I layered that on, and it holds up pretty nicely. It's not like I'm gonna be yanking on the boot or anything like that. So while that dries, I can start slowly but surely reinstalling some interior pieces. The dash, what is it called? The glove box. Ooh, shiny black, it's beautiful. That goes in with ease. Managed to find a lot of the screws that I thought I had lost. If anyone kicks my kick panel, there's gonna be a lot of kicking from my end.
I misplaced like all of my screws and stuff, I bought a bunch from LMR. I mean, they were so cheap. It was like $6, $13, and they're all new and they make me feel so pretty.
So as I'm installing these larger plastic pieces, I'm so terrified I'm gonna like scrape it or kick it, and I just, you know, I just painted everything. The last thing I want to do is like scrape the paint off or damage it. And I took inventory of the parts, and I knew I had foam pieces, I knew I had carpet, I knew what I had. And the first one that I go to install goes in without a hitch. Actually, everything just kind of went in very smoothly because I had the new bolts from LMR. But when I went to put in the other side, I realized I didn't put the carpet, sandwich the carpet in between the driver's side. And I had just installed it, so I didn't put the carpet in, and it immediately started to rattle. So I can't even find the carpet. I might have thrown it out in a rage, but I need to find some kind of a felt or blanket material to put there. I was driving around and I was like, oh my god, what's this rattle? There's like right in my ear, like da 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 da. I'm like, I soundproof everything. Then I realized, of course, the carpet, it's that piece of foam that's like rattling around in there. Lesson learned. As you're going to install the center console, there is this guide piece of metal that's screwed into the e-brake. You have to remove that, and I've researched there's no need for it. I mean, the e-brake still works without it. I'm sure there's a need for it, but I didn't reinstall it. Several of the people didn't reinstall theirs, and I'm sure it's fine. Anyways, you have to get the stick shift, I'm sorry, not the stick shift, the e-brake as high as possible, and then just slip the boot over, which I do a really nifty job of right here. And then this whole thing's just held on by a couple of bolts right in the front where like the CD player goes, and then a couple bolts in the actual center console itself that go to the floorboard. And then randomly the actual like door, the center console door, whatever, that's held by like 27 screws. I swear it was like a million of these little screws. I did end up buying the new air vents because the old vents were trashed. They had glue all over them from these face plates that the previous owner must have put on them. So I found those. They were like a whopping 30 to 40 bucks each, but I think that they looked fantastic, and they came black and shiny, so I didn't even have to paint them. Adding that bottom kick panel under the steering column, that's a breeze. There's a metal plate underneath, and that has to come down for you to basically plug in the air vent, do the screws, then put the metal panel back, and then the plastic panel can go under. I got this incredible Hurst, I mean I love it, it was such a deal, this Hurst Shifter, because the one that came stock on the car was very odd. I didn't enjoy it whatsoever. And then while I was doing that, I got the new Hurst Shift knob too. Couple things. I did not notice that the shifter itself has a lot of play in it. I have come to realize that there's a like a bearing, like a plastic, I don't know how to say it, it's a plastic piece, and those a bushing, those can wear out. So that's what I think is the issue. I do have to like take apart that center console to get to it, just like that area with the boot on it. So I already have the part from LMR. It was like, I don't know, 20 bucks, so I'm gonna replace that, and that should stop the play with the stick shift itself. Now, when I installed my new stick shift, I wasn't feeling well, and I had been sick that week, so I took some cold medicine, and I think it affected my brain power. I installed it completely backwards, like if this is the stick shift, you know, and it was supposed to be like this, I installed it like this. So I couldn't even, when I went to move the car and I went to put it in first gear, I realized that I couldn't because I would be hitting the CD player area. I was like, well, how did this even, like how did I do that? So obviously I had to take it apart right away and switch it around. So that means I had to take apart that plastic bezel again, and I broke a tab off of it, so I brought my weather stripping in and fixed it. So anyways, this picture represents what it should look like, and that's after, you know, I also widened the boot tip so it could show off my Hurst shift stick because it looked horrible before and I knew it looked bad. Now, I did remove the rear seats. I ended up giving them away to someone who reached out to me on OfferUp, and I won a nice clean rear seat, so I got the rear seat delete kit, and I know I could have made one. I had my reasons for not making one, which you'll find out here. So the kit, it's nice plastic. It was simple, had some Velcro, had some screws, a few little minor modifications that I had to make. There's two bolts that are sticking up from the floorboard. I couldn't access them from under the car and I wasn't going to kill myself over it, so I just cut a little groove in the back piece and it fit like glue. And I get so much, it's almost like I use it on purpose now, but there's this one, it's like a 15mm socket, and it's cracked. This is it right here. I don't know why. I've got maybe a million 15mm sockets. Every time I go to use one, I end up pulling the one with the crack on it, and I just went for it. Someone reached out to me and was like, never use that socket and blah blah blah, and they're probably right, but... So with the little notch cut out, it fit like butter. And then you just kind of cut holes where the carpet is, so you can put the new screws in. And then there's even these little like caps that go over where the screws are. I bet you if my dad saw these things that I do, like this rear seat delete, he'd be like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever seen! God damn it, Nia! Why don't you just leave the seats in the car? Wow! He would have never understood how nice and what a good idea this is. Granted, it was like, I think it was $250 or $270 or something. And I know I could have made one, but is it really worth the time and trouble for me to make one? I calculated like my hourly worth, and it was cheaper to buy this. So anyways, I'm really happy with the quality. It's simplistic in its design, and it's just lovely. I really like it. The carpet does look a little bit buckled in this video, and it did iron out, it did relax a little bit. I didn't want it to slip and slide around, and it didn't lay as perfectly as obviously the stock one did, so I came up with an idea, and I thought I was pretty smart for doing this. What I did was I drilled some holes in just a few, like 4 on each side, and then I put rivets just anchoring the carpet to the floor, and then the foot seals, you know, what they call the door seals, they just slip right over those, so you won't even see that, but it just felt like it really secured down my carpet and made me really happy. There was like a part that I trimmed too much away, and so I took a piece from another side of the carpet that wouldn't be seen, and I basically gave it like a transplant, a skin graft. I gave it skin graft, and I used my weather stripping glue to get that in there. So that's it. That's as far as we've come. It's completely ready for the seats at this point. So all the plastics are in, stick shift, everything. It's completely ready. I even vacuumed it. And next time we're gonna be putting the seats in and finishing off this project. And then we're all gonna go for a drive. So start lining up. I've got VIP tickets for the first like 10 people that line up. Remember, no shoes, no shirts, no clothes, no jewelry. You have to wear like a hazmat suit because my seats they're going to get dirty very easily. Alright, thank you so much for watching. See you next time. This car I think will go down in history as one of the most fun cars I've ever worked on. After I get home from shooting this, I'm going to order some suspension parts. It's BMI. Isn't BMI like, oh no, that's IBS. IBS is like irritable bowel syndrome. I'm definitely not ordering IBS parts. I'm gonna order BMI. So I'm gonna start with the control arms, and eventually I want to do a K member. But that's a little bit more in depth, and I need a garage because it's not something that I can do in a single day. And